What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is Muscle, and this is another Two Line Music Hut's Entertainment Report podcast. And today we have a special guest in the building. I'm talking about way from Israel. We have the mystical youth, Alan, inside the building today. What's going on, big boss?
Yeah. Muscle, big up. Yeah, it's good to be here.
Thank you. You know what I mean? We're on two different sides of the world, but thank God for technology, we could connect like this.
Yes, definitely. And we're both stuck at home, so.
Yeah, crazy. You know what? Let's get into that a bit right now. What is it like in Israel right now with, I guess, quarantine and all that stuff going on down there?
Yeah, good question. I mean, we've been locked down for, I would say, a month and a half, I guess, 6 or 7 weeks.
Wow.
Actually, these last couple days, the government are trying to change the instructions and start to be a bit more loose. They're going to open kindergartens again, maybe small shops that you can enter from the street. They're going to, based on the size. So they're trying to get back to a little bit businesses, not to pause all of the economy, but they're going to give it a few weeks to see if it helps or not. So.
Okay, so it's just like a trial run type of thing.
I guess, yes, but we've been on lockdown for since early mid-March, yes.
Wow, that's serious. So when could you actually leave your house? What is it you could actually leave to do?
Well, until these last days, we could maybe just go to the supermarket or walk around in the neighborhood. They allow you like 500 meters. Now you're allowed to leave home as long as you have a mask on. So now it's a bit more loose.
Yeah.
But most people still, most businesses are closed. So there's not that much to do.
Wow. And are you in the city or you're in the countryside? Where are you?
Well, I'm in Tel Aviv city. Yes, so I'm live and direct, straight from Tel Aviv. But the sound originally is actually from the countryside in the northern side of Israel.
Okay.
Yes. So not far from the Sea of Galilee, not far from the border with Jordan. It's a beautiful area called the Valley of Israel.
Okay. And how long has Mystical Youth been around now?
So sound officially started in 2007. 2007, as I said, in the countryside of Israel. Yeah. I actually joined the sound a bit later. I'm on the sound now almost a decade, so around 2010, 11. Yeah. The guys who started the sound is Jaco, who's now has kind of relocated to Jamaica the last 2 or 3 years, and Willie Dunn was actually also relocated to the US.
Okay. So you guys actually have the sound in 3 different places right now?
Well, we've been all living in Israel until just a few years ago, but yes, now we're kind of a bit separate.
Yeah, wow. And you said 2007, you joined about 2010, so it's been 10 years. And what's the sound system culture like in Israel?
So to me, the sound system culture in Israel is actually very special. I mean, it's not too big. I think in most countries, there's no Caribbean community at all in Israel.
Yeah, none
at all. So with all our these are all things that came from outside of Israel. But so reggae music, dancehall in general in countries such as Israel has always been underground. So you're not gonna get dancehall reggae on your mainstream radio. No. Or maybe in 2019 you might get Toast from Coffee, but that's just one of those hits, But but actually the scene started quite early. The scene can go back in the mid or late 80s.
What?
Yes. There was actually a club called Soweto. Started in Israel in the mid-late 80s. And this was actually the first place to ever play reggae music. Not just reggae music, also African music, and I would say even some hip hop. So that was like a base. And then the first selectors who started to select reggae music in Israel, that was kind of the place where everybody met each other. So, I mean, I was born in the late 80s. So this is not my generation, but there's definitely a generation that started to play reggae and dancehall in the late 80s and 90s. But I would say specifically sound systems who work a bit more professionally with an MC and a selector and cutting dub plates, that started, I would say, in the very late 90s or early 2000s.
Okay, so there's been a scene there for a while now, say about over 20 years. There has been a sound system, even though it hasn't been big, it has been a sound system dub plate cutting type of culture there for over 20 years now.
Yes, I mean, we're talking not many sounds, but, and so we're not talking many sounds, but the few sounds that did do it, some of them were serious. So there were some really nice events from back in the day. And those days, as you know, we're talking pre-YouTube, a little bit internet, but it's very hard to kind of get familiar of what are the top songs or whatever. So you would have to go to these events back in the day.
That makes sense. And when did you encounter reggae and then fall in love with reggae and decide that, you know what, I want to play a sound?
Yeah, that's a good question. So actually, I mean, for me personally, that would have been around 2005, 2006, which actually kind of by mistakes, I came across one of these dancehall parties, reggae parties, and it just caught me by surprise. I mean, growing up a bit more as a teenager, so I don't know if it's something that you have in Canada. We had like the regular MTV, and then we had MTV Base.
What was the difference?
So MTV Base was more based on hip hop and R&B.
Okay.
So that was kind of giving you, and the regular MTV might have the regular top 40, which also going to have all pop and all different genres. So I would usually prefer that type of MTV, which might give you, along with the hip hop, you might get an occasional Shaggy or Sean Paul, which I had not any specific, major interest in that. But suddenly when I got to these dances, and I kind of fell in love with the vibe I never knew before. Suddenly this DJ is interacting with the crowd, introducing the songs. And apart from the beat, which is special, so the content and, the social lyrics, and the whole thing that the reggae, not just the dancehall, and the reggae dancehall together, that was something that came very special to me. So I would say pretty much from that go point of kind of learning about artists like Sizzla, and at that time, Junior Gong, Welcome to Jamrock. That was like #1 hit. So I would say these times were very special in the music, and it just caught me. And I think from the first months, it took a while until I started selecting, but at these first months, I would already picture myself holding a mic and introducing a song.
From back then, wow. And even back then, how did you purchase music back then? Was it because it was CDs or was MP3s at that time there?
So that time, I would say that most of the DJ sounds were already starting to transfer into CDs. You might have had a couple sounds of still working on vinyl, but so for me, actually, that's a bit maybe a year later or something. But when I got to really dive into sound clashes and learn about Foundation, and they recorded that new song on an old rhythm, so I started to collect records because I was really intrigued to see where this music is coming from. But also these days, we're already talking about the CD era. So when the sound officially started, we already started strictly with CDs.
You guys went CDs, and then you went into Serato or whatever the case is from there.
Yeah, that was a few good years later, but yes.
Yeah. Okay, and you said you stumbled upon the sound clash scene and all those stuff there where they're cutting dubs and those type of stuff there. What type of sounds were you actually listening to back then?
The sounds, you mean like internationally?
Yeah.
Definitely Stone Love. Definitely Stone Love. I would say when clashes, I mean, later on, I got to learn about many different sounds, Phalanx, Black Hat, etc. But specifically, I remember at this young age, I remember David Rodigan was also very special to me. And I think what was very special about Rodigan is that he kind of found or created his own lane in the music, because usually in the sound clash, you're going to have every selector is just going to try to be as gangster as possible.
Yeah.
And Rodigan really brought himself into it, was not trying to be someone he's not.
Yeah.
And also while introducing the songs, he was taking a different approach and was kind of doing it more as a history lesson.
Yeah.
So I remember Rodigan, Firelinks, and Rodigan and Stone Love definitely. But I would say the other sounds, yes, Bass Odyssey, of course.
Yeah. Okay. And do songs actually come to Israel right now, songs from abroad?
Definitely. I mean, 2020 is a bit stuck. But actually, since 2014, we've been keeping a monthly event in Israel with a couple of our partners. Big up to Amar Sound, big up to Bad Boy, Madman Crew. So we've been keeping a monthly dance in Israel. We've hosted many international sounds in Israel. Bass Odyssey from Jamaica, Massive B or LP from New York. Japanese sounds. European, of course, Sentinel, Supersonic. So we've hosted many international, and I would say back in the days you would get an occasional international sound, but it would be a special occasion. It's not like every weekend you're going to get that.
That's great. And artists also come over?
Yes. Actually, these last couple of years, there's kind of a new wave of young crowd being introduced to dancehall. So there's kind of the market has kind of gotten a little refresh, and these last 1 or 2 years there's been a good amount of artists that came to Israel. In general, artists are coming to Israel. Usually you're gonna get like maybe an artist touring Europe. So the flight from Germany to Israel is gonna be 4 hours. Flying them all the way from Jamaica is not gonna make sense. So usually when these artists are touring, that would make more sense. And also that's what we did with sound systems when we know that, Kingpin from New York, from Addy, is touring Europe. So we're going to link with him and try to bring him to Israel.
That's so it's so hard for me to picture, say, Israel's reggae scene. But it's just, because to tell you the truth, I was just telling my wife this morning, this week alone, I've done interviews with people in India, now Israel, France, Panama, everywhere. It's like, you don't realize how big this really is. This is crazy, boss.
Yes, this is crazy, and also, I think people will really, people who haven't seen a video or, of course, haven't been here physically will be surprised to see of the vibe in these dances. I mean, I know that to a certain extent, there's a language barrier because still the first language in Israel is Hebrew, but still the crowd I think in Israel is very lively, and they would give forwards. You're gonna have some ladies go on stage, do their thing. So I think most of the sounds, or I would say all sounds that came to our Tel Aviv dances, they really went back to their countries with very good feedback.
Good. And is it more of are you guys more into dancehall or more reggae in Israel?
In general, both. I think it might have changed over the years. I think maybe back in the day, it was more 50-50. Maybe now it would be like 70% towards dancehall, 30% reggae, but there's still a love for both. Yes, but I would say now, so when talking a younger crowd, they would probably listen a Chronics, or Romain Virgo, Taros Riley, not necessarily go fully roots reggae, but it changes. You also have some sounds in Israel who love to specialize in the vintage, and they would play not many sounds, but some sounds who was gonna play strictly 70s, 80s dancehall and stuff like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. I guess everywhere you go, you have a pocket of certain sounds that like to do certain things, so that makes sense right there. Let's get into Mystical Youth's history here now. So you guys been around now about 13 years, you said?
Yes.
Okay, about 13 years. And how did you guys even come up with the name Mystical Youth?
So that's actually a nice story. So the two guys who founded the sound, Jacko and Willie. So they're both from the countryside of Israel. And they kind of linked even a little before 2007, might have been 2006, and they started to kind of collect music together and played one or two events in their area, which that area actually hosted kind of the biggest countryside event in Israel back in the day. And this is an event where they started, and I would say the more mature crowd, because these guys were not even legal to go into the club. They were like in high school or something. So they were DJs, but they were not even allowed in the club. I guess they were like 16 at the time or something. So the crowd was so amazed with these guys' ability to, make the crowd enjoy, dance, everything professional from the mic work to the mixing. So they kind of call these guys like like that's mystical. Or these youths are doing that, and that's how the name came about. So it's not even a name that I'm not sure if they came about it or it kind of came from the people. It's kind of a mixture. So that's the story.
Just like that. You see, it's like you guys got the name from the crowd. You guys didn't pick the name chose you guys. Big right there. Would you guys say you guys are more into juggling, clashing? What is Mystical Youth really about?
Well, that's a good question, actually, because to me, the sound is an all around, because we've always been more of a juggling sound. But not because necessarily we don't like clash or haven't done clashes. Just financially in Israel, it took. We've been started to cut dub plates from those first years, but it took a while to really build the dub plate box, which 2020 is already a different situation now. But this took time. But I would say that our style of juggling is very kind of taken from the Jamaican style, and with a lot of interaction with the crowd, introducing of the songs, proper mixing, real juggling. So when we play overseas in Jamaica and other places, the crowd really embraces it. So I would say we're a juggling and war sound, because we have experience in song clashes. It's just that I would say how we kind of bust into the international scene was more through juggling until now.
Okay. And what were some of the clashes you guys actually been in?
So I would say we did a couple of clashes in Israel, against some of the other Israel top sounds, and also some events in Jamaica which were juggling dances, kind of spontaneously just turned into war. So it's not necessarily going to have rules. You might draw for a 45, which fits perfectly in the situation, and the other sound is gone. So so a few events in Jamaica and a couple events in Israel, a bit more back in the day.
Okay, and that's right there. And when it even comes to dubs right now, who are some of the first artists that you guys actually cut when you guys first started up?
Okay, so actually having the name Mystical Youth and all of us started quite young. We always were into kind of supporting the young artists, and not necessarily we would always voice strictly young artists as on dub plates. But the first artist we recorded was Lutan Fire, which back in those days, 2007, 2008, was kind of that was like his years, and he was doing very well. So that's the first artist. But also we knew that as much as we knew that someday the intention is to clash. So we also started with a foundation and kind of voicing some young artists, some current songs throughout the years, but also building the foundation box, from Studio One and 90s dancehall to kind of make sure that the box is balanced.
Well-rounded. That makes sense. And even when it came to cutting your first set of dubs, did you guys actually go to Jamaica? You had a link. How did that even work out, especially coming from Israel?
In those early years, as I mentioned, the sound started when the members were less than 18 years old. So back then it was I guess just through finding a link in Jamaica, maybe through a friend, or these days, these early, I'm not sure if Facebook started these days, but you might have found a link through a friend or some other friends have been to Jamaica that would give us a number of an engineer. All right, link this guy. And sometimes these, you're not necessarily going to get exactly what you wanted, but you just learn from your mistakes and improve. But the first times was definitely from Israel, just calling to Jamaica, sending money through Western Union and doing that this way. And a few years later, we started to travel in Jamaica. And from that moment, the links became much better, and we would always try to voice ourselves. And especially any artist that comes to, we're going to try to have him in the studio.
Makes sense. And what was your first time in Jamaica like?
Specifically for me, actually, that was in 2009, which was a little before I even joined officially to the Sound.
Okay.
So, and that was a long journey, because for me, when I kind of, those days I actually already have some equipment at home and started practicing the introduction and playing music, but haven't really gone on stage officially yet. So when I went to Jamaica, it was more to really embrace the culture, improve my patois, really see how they're doing it in Jamaica, not through a DVD or an audio. I had the privilege of living for 1 month in inner city Kingston, one of the ghettos at an upcoming artist place. So I would be like all day at some Garrison studios, sing some young artists, writing lyrics. Suddenly, sitting at the corner, that area, for example, Horace Andy lived in that area. Seeing Horace Andy smoking chalice at the corner, sitting with him, so much special vibes, and being, of course, many dances in Kingston and in the countryside, seeing how the top guys are doing it. And I think this was like homework to kind of know, okay, when I do join a Sound or start a Sound, how am I going to do it?
Yeah, definitely. Can't wait to actually see you guys in the quarantine class.
Most definitely.
Coming up. You guys are in it next weekend coming up, all right? And who's your competitor?
So May 10th, as you mentioned, Sunday against Jaworks, Japan.
Yes, from Japan. Yes. Definitely. We've seen them in World Clash already, and I'm pretty sure you have some idea who they are. You know what I mean?
Most definitely.
Yeah. And what could we expect from you guys come next week, Sunday?
Well, that's a very good question. So you can just expect the unexpected.
Yeah.
But I mean, big up Jaworks, as you said. Jaworks has been World Clash doing his thing. But I'm sure, Jaworks' road manager, actually, or booking agent, should I say, I'm not sure exactly, but he's actually a strong supporter of Mystical Youth, sharing some of our viral vids on his page and stuff like that. So, so I'm sure that either Go or his team know that this is going to be serious.
Yeah, it's going to be all out. And have you been following the quarantine clash?
Oh, most definitely. Yeah. I think I watched. Even if I didn't get to watch it live, I would later watch it on YouTube.
Yeah, and which one was one of your favorites so far?
Good question. Good question. I don't know if a specific clash, but for example, Bobby Condors, which he is also a past guest in our Yard Storm events in Israel. So he really unleashed some tunes and had a vibe going on with this, with this kid in the background. So that was a really good, really strong performance.
Yeah.
Poison Dart, really good performance. So just couple of events, but yeah, looking forward to be on that. I would say stage, but looking forward to be on that screen.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, now that you say it, it's an internet clash, and it's really Walshy Fire, Warrior Sound that's putting it together and all that. How did you feel when you got the call? Who did you get the call from?
Walshy.
How did you feel when you got that call from Walshy? You were watching Quarantine and said now they want you to be a part of the competition. What was that call like?
Feel very good. I mean, these last these last few years, I mean, the international journey of Mystical Youth started in 2015. That year we did our first tour in Europe, with a few dates, playing in some of Germany's top weekly or monthly dances and a few other events. And later that year we went as a team for the first time to Jamaica and played for the first time with sounds such as Stone Love or Bass Odyssey. That's 2015.
In Jamaica.
In Jamaica, yes, in Jamaica. Did stage shows, did various events. That was 6 weeks in Jamaica. So, and since then we've been going every year to Jamaica. Jaco, as mentioned earlier, has relocated to Jamaica, which many events that he's done has brought a lot of hype to the sound, couple of viral videos, which has been shared by big blogs and artists from Jamaica. So it's kind of been, these last few years have been a solid increase year after year. The sound played in 2019 in Antigua. That was a big history. 2017, a few dates in Florida and Miami. So, I mean, so kind of that increase that we're doing every year is finally, we knew that, okay, when we got this call, we knew, all right. I mean, we created all this buzz. Now the Quarantine Clash is a great platform to showcase what we can do on a dubplate clash.
Yeah, definitely. And is it going to be you alone? Is it going to be Jaco? Who exactly is going to be representing, and how are you guys putting it together?
we're still not giving all of our cards.
All right, fair enough. I hear you.
yes, but we're definitely the preparation is being done as a team. Yeah. So, you know, from both Israel and Jamaica.
Yeah, definitely. And after we get out of quarantine, what else do you guys have planned coming up? Were you guys some other 2020 plans?
Well, we had many plans for this year. I mean, there's many dates in Jamaica, juggling dates with many of, you know, big events in Jamaica. We're talking juggling dates, and also our monthly dance in Israel, which last year has kind of been not monthly. It happened a few times, but with breaks, we had a new club. So kind of everything new. That the first dance was supposed to be on March. Wow. And we already had the flyer on the road, and we just, of course, all events were canceled. So, I mean, all we can hope for is get back to normal, but no one knows, I think, when is that going to happen.
Yeah. Hopefully, yeah, because everybody wants to start getting out and go doing things, but hopefully when we get out, everything will be safe so we could get back to somewhat of a normal life eventually, you know what I mean? Whether it's this year or next year.
I mean, if we're going to go back to normal in September and then suddenly everything needs to be paused again in November, I don't know, that's going to be very frustrating. Yeah. So, you know, for now, Quarantine Clash and just maybe some online juggling is going to do it, and just hope everybody keeps safe.
All right. Before I get you out of here, leave your contacts where they could check out anything Mystical Youth is going on, either Facebook, Instagram, your website, wherever. Leave some contacts here.
So as you can see here, Mystical Youth Sound. So you're just going to add the word sound to it. Mystical Youth Sound is on Instagram, Facebook, SoundCloud, YouTube. So all platforms. Just look us up.
Right across the board. Listen, next week, Sunday, we can't wait to see what you and Jaworks are actually going to be doing. It's going to be crazy, crazy, crazy. Hopefully, if you're the winner and you win the whole competition, we could sit down and have a victory interview and talk a lot more.
Most definitely.
Alan, it's been an amazing talk. Thank you so very much. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is Muscle, and this has been another Two Line Music Cuts Entertainment Report podcast, and we are out. This podcast is brought to you by www.twolinedmusichut.com.